4 commands to love. Number 3. Love the brotherhood. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 17.
God gives us liberty so that we can do His will. And furthermore, he says, verse 17, he speaks about, at the end of verse 16, this liberty for the purpose of being, once more, servants of God. Now, being a servant of God demands that we acknowledge God's creation. And therefore, he says, give honor, you give honor to all. You love the brotherhood, meaning fellowship, loving others, and also fear God. Also honor the king. And the order here is very informative. He tells us what to do in a specific order that ultimately brings us into a position where we can honor the king. Now, this purpose of the king being mentioned last shows a testimony. It brings to my mind the Apostle Paul. When God told Paul that he is going to bear witness before kings and ruler. Not just anyone has that opportunity. But if you are humble, if you walk in submissiveness, God is going to give you a mighty platform. The position to influence others, here he speaks about even being able to honor the king. Verse 18.
Number 4. Love your brother. 1 John chapter 4 verse 21.
Verse 21. Now our last verse, verse 21, is very important because it goes back to that foundation of the Torah, which holds all of this together. He says here, verse 21, and this is the commandment that we have from him. Let me say it again. And this commandment we have from him, in order that the one loving God should also love his brother. Now, when it says should, it's not a suggestion. In English, we may hear it that way, but in the biblical language, it is speaking about a condition. The one who should say, I love God. Let's take it literally. And this commandment we have from him. Who him? God. In order that the one who loves God should love also, and this is emphatic, also his brother. And loving your brother is simply the foundation of Torah truth. And you love your brother, why? Because you have received the love of God. Have we not seen several times the Bible speaking about the love of God, that perfect love of God, arriving at its end, being what it should be in our life? See, this is what happens. This perfect love of God enters into us. It's always perfect. The question is that perfect love going to have the desired outcome? And when do we know that it has? When we love our neighbor, our brother, one another, as God has loved us. And when we do that, we are going to have a dynamic testimony. We are going to manifest the love that God has given to us. And this is going to have great benefits. It is going to grow, mature, empower, broaden the benefits of being in a covenantal relationship with him. We're going to take hold of those benefits and privileges. The more that we are used by God, the more satisfying, the more powerful, the more illuminating our covenant relationship will be with God. I want to close with this. The scripture's clear that the love of God is this, that he sent his son, his only begotten son, into this world to be the propitiation for the sins of the world. That means there's an invitation to you that you receive this redemption. God working and destroying your sinfulness so that there's nothing that hinders you from receiving that love of God, receiving His Spirit, being used by God, and when God determines the time, Him bringing you into His kingdom where He is that you should be forever. There are great benefits for experiencing the love of God. And you experience those benefits when you demonstrate that love that He has for you when we do so to one another. Well, I'll close with that until next week. Shalom.